It happens in a fraction of a second, a slip of the hand, a splash, and your premium smartphone is plunging into the sink. Panic sets in, and human instinct takes over. Rather than absorbing an expensive professional repair bill, we turn to internet folklore, cheap life hacks, and neighborhood Jugaad. The most universally trusted of these amateur remedies is burying the wet hardware in a bag of uncooked rice. But as we look deeper, we see these intuitive interventions trigger internal physical and chemical reactions that are often more dangerous than the water itself. We are going to perform a forensic teardown on a saved phone, exposing exactly how 5 common repair choices, mechanically and chemically, lead to its failure. Inside the casing, a modern smartphone is a densely packed metropolis of microcircuitry. The smallest trace of a foreign contaminant is lethal. This cross-section exposes the rice flaw. Instead of absorbing water, it dumps jagged starch particles into the phone's cavities. These particles mix with residual water, creating a highly conductive paste that bridges separated electrical nodes, instantly shorting out the microcomponents. When the rice inevitably fails, the next instinct is usually heat, blasting the wet phone with a hairdryer. A water droplet sits safely outside an internal rubber seal. A dryer's hot air acts as a physical ram, not an evaporator. It compresses the droplet, squeezing it flat and driving it under waterproof seals into deep, vulnerable internal crevices. By attempting to dry the hardware through brute force means, the user actively manufactures a permanent, unreachable short circuit. Liquid isn't the only way we destroy our own hardware. Moving our forensic autopsy to the power system reveals the third fatal mistake: replacing a lost factory charger with a cheap 100 rupee local alternative. Modern charging uses a voltage handshake, sending synchronized data waves between battery and charger to safely initiate metered energy. Ultra-cheap chargers lack these microchips, blindly pumping a raw, jagged, unmetered flood of current straight into the volatile lithium-ion cells. The immediate physical consequence of this raw current is severe: localized overheating within the battery cells. This rapidly degrades the internal chemical separators meant to keep the layers apart. When those separators fail, the system enters thermal runaway. The metallic casing violently swells and bulges outward under immense pressure, causing a localized blast. Bypassing a digital power regulation system to save a few dollars leaves a premium battery vulnerable to unmetered surges, creating the conditions for a localized blast. The final phase of our autopsy brings us to the physical hardware. When the glass shatters, the common instinct is to seek out a cheap, local, aftermarket screen replacement. This 3D exploded view reveals the invisible biological danger of those cheap parts. The factory screen contains a vital filtering layer to block harsh light waves. The local replacement completely omits this electromagnetic shielding, bombarding the user's eyes with jagged radiation and excessive blue light. Which brings us to the ultimate mistake: attempting to bypass technicians entirely by cracking the phone open yourself using a YouTube DIY teardown video. Modern smartphones rely on microscopic tolerances. Slipping a pry tool by just a single millimeter cleanly slices right through a paper-thin ribbon cable. Treating a calibrated microengineering marvel like a simple macroscopic puzzle guarantees instantaneous, irreversible hardware death. Pulling back from the microscopic autopsy, we are left with a completely dead, disassembled device on the table. It survived the initial accident, only to be killed by escalating cures. Modern smartphones are sealed, highly calibrated microenvironments that operate on absolute zero-tolerance margins. The common sense of the physical world, using heat to dry things out, forcing objects open, or improvising electrical connections, directly conflicts with the delicate physics of microtechnology. Inside that casing, your natural instincts are fatal. This high-contrast graphic lays out the true economic equation. The ultimate cost of a $1 shortcut is the total loss of a $1,000 device and every piece of personal data trapped inside it. It is time to abandon the Jugaad mindset. Leave the rice in the kitchen and trust your high-end technology only to professional technicians.